4 years, the Duggar family has operated under a veil of secrecy, but in April 2026, that veil hasn't just been lifted, it's been shredded. If you've followed the family's history, you know the name Joseph Duggar as the quiet one, the middle son who avoided the spotlight and seemed to build the most stable life with his wife Kendra. But the reality that has emerged in the last 3 weeks is far more disturbing than anyone could have predicted. While the world was watching Josh Duggar serve his time, an entirely different criminal investigation was quietly building momentum in 2 different states. We are talking about the simultaneous arrests of both Joseph and Kendra Duggar, a series of events that has sent shockwaves through the reality TV world and led to a high-stakes court appearance in Florida that most fans didn't see coming. This isn't just a rumor or a leak from an anonymous source. This is the breakdown of the documented evidence that the Duggars cannot ignore, starting with the chilling details found in the Florida probable cause affidavit. To understand why this case is erupting now, we have to look back at 2020. According to official court records from Bay County, Florida, the Duggar family was vacationing in Panama City Beach, staying at a residence on Danny Drive. It was during this trip that the alleged crimes took place. The victim, who was only 9 years old at the time, has now come forward in 2026 to participate in a forensic interview that changed everything. She detailed multiple incidents where Joseph allegedly took advantage of their proximity while they were sitting under a blanket on a couch. The specifics of these allegations are what make this case so ironclad for the prosecution. This wasn't a one-time misunderstanding. According to the investigation, these incidents only stopped after the victim's father intervened. But here's the part of the story that will keep you watching. The father didn't just call the police in 2026. He confronted Joseph Duggar directly on March 17th, and the response he received was the first major piece of evidence that Joseph can never take back. In that confrontation, Joseph Garrett Duggar reportedly made a stunning admission. He didn't deny the touching. Instead, he allegedly told the victim's father that he did touch the girl over her clothing, and in a quote that has now become the centerpiece of the prosecution's case, he admitted that his intentions were not pure. But as damaging as that statement is, it's not even the most powerful piece of evidence the state of Florida has. Following that confrontation, detectives with the Tontitown Police Department in Arkansas were brought into the loop. They didn't just take a statement. They monitored a subsequent phone call between the victim's father and Joseph. During this recorded conversation, Joseph allegedly admitted to the actions a second time. This is the smoking gun that creates a massive hurdle for the defense. In 2026, a recorded admission of guilt, especially one made to law enforcement through a monitored line, is the gold standard of evidence. It's the reason the judge in Bay County saw fit to set a bond so high that it nearly paralyzed the family's legal strategy. While Joseph was being processed and eventually extradited to Florida, the situation back in Arkansas was becoming equally dire. In a move that caught everyone off guard, Kendra Duggar was also taken into custody. This is where the story takes a turn that even the most seasoned true crime followers didn't expect. Kendra isn't just a supportive wife standing by her man. She is facing her own set of 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor and 4 counts of second-degree false imprisonment. These are separate charges from Joseph's Florida case, which suggests that the investigation into their household reached a breaking point independently of the Florida allegations. What were the Tontitown police seeing when they entered the Joseph and Kendra household? The charges of false imprisonment are particularly haunting. In the context of the Duggars' strict high-control upbringing, these charges imply a level of physical restraint or isolation of their 4 young children that goes far beyond traditional strict parenting. The tension in the courtroom during Joseph's March 31st appearance was palpable. Appearing via video link from the Bay County Jail, Joseph looked vastly different from the man we saw on Counting On. He was dressed in a striped jail uniform, clutching a piece of paper that many believe was his written plea of not guilty. But the prosecution was relentless. They argued that because of the severity of the charges, lewd and lascivious molestation of a child under 12, Joseph Duggar represented a significant risk. The state didn't just ask for a high bond, they asked for a substantial monetary bond to ensure he wouldn't flee back to the safety of the Duggar compound in Arkansas. The judge eventually settled on a total of $600,000. $500,000 for the molestation charge and an additional $100,000 for the conduct charge. This wasn't a standard bail amount for a first-time offender. This was a clear signal from the Florida judicial system that the evidence against Joseph Duggar is viewed as incredibly strong and potentially dangerous, but the $600,000 price tag for his freedom was only the beginning of the restrictions Joseph is now living under. As he boarded a flight back to Arkansas after his father, Jim Bob, reportedly posted the bond, he left with a list of court mandates that effectively change his life forever. He is strictly prohibited from having any contact with the victim, which is standard. However, the judge went much further, barring Joseph from having any unsupervised contact with any minor under the age of 18. This includes his own children. For a man who built his entire public identity around being a family man and a father, this mandate is a crushing blow. But the court has made it clear, celebrity status doesn't erase a recorded confession. The tension is building because the insider information starting to leak out of the Tontitown area suggests that more witnesses are coming forward. People who spent time in the Joseph and Kendra household are starting to talk to investigators about the false imprisonment charges, and what they are saying is painting a picture of a home life that was far darker than anyone suspected. The evidence they can't ignore isn't just a single document. It's a mountain of testimony and recordings that are slowly burying the Duggar legacy once and for all. The high-stakes $600,000 bond was just the beginning of what has become a total collapse for the Joseph and Kendra brand. As Joseph flew back to Arkansas at the start of April 2026, he wasn't returning to the life he left behind. He was returning to a home that is now a focal point of two separate criminal investigations. While the Florida case carries the heavy weight of decades in prison, the Arkansas charges against both Joseph and Kendra for child endangerment and false imprisonment are what truly highlight the disturbing details mentioned by our insiders. To understand how serious this is, we have to look at the living conditions described by the Tontitown police. These aren't just minor parenting lapses. These are criminal allegations involving the welfare of 4 young children who have spent their entire lives in front of a camera. The specific charge of second-degree false imprisonment in Arkansas is particularly chilling. In the state of Arkansas, this typically involves restraining another person without consent and without legal authority. When these charges are applied to children by their own parents, it suggests a level of control and confinement that mirrors the most extreme aspects of the high-control environment the Duggars were raised in. Insiders suggest that investigators were tipped off after a wellness check revealed the children were being kept in conditions that violated state safety standards. The fact that Kendra is facing 4 counts, 1 for each of their children, implies that this wasn't an isolated incident with one child, but a systematic failure of parenting that affected the entire household. As the April 20th arraignment in Florida approaches, the tension within the larger Duggar family has reached a breaking point. For the first time, we are seeing a public split that is more aggressive than anything we saw during Josh Duggar's trial. Jill Duggar Dillard has been vocal, stating that her heart goes out to the victim and that the family cannot continue to stay silent about abuse. On the other side of the fence, Jim Bob Duggar has been working overtime behind the scenes. Reports indicate that Jim Bob didn't just post the $600,000 bond, he has also hired a high-powered legal team to challenge the validity of the recorded phone calls. Their defense strategy seems to be revolving around the idea of fair treatment for a celebrity, but legal experts say that a recorded confession is almost impossible to explain away as a mere consequence of fame. The most shocking development, however, is coming from inside the prison walls where Josh Duggar is serving his sentence. In a move that many fans find nauseating, Josh has reportedly reached out through his legal team to offer support to Joseph, claiming he understands the pain of being falsely accused. This public alignment between the two brothers has been a PR nightmare for the family. It reinforces the narrative that the Duggar compound isn't just a place of religious devotion, but a place where a cycle of abuse has been allowed to fester for decades. This brotherhood of allegations is exactly what the Arkansas and Florida prosecutors are looking at as they build their cases, but let's talk about the evidence they can't ignore that goes beyond the courtrooms. It's the evidence of the psychological toll. Sources close to the Caldwell family, Kendra's parents, say that the relationship between the two families has completely soured. There is talk that the Caldwells are considering testifying against Joseph to protect Kendra's chances of staying out of prison. If Kendra decides to cooperate with the state of Florida or Arkansas, Joseph's defense will collapse instantly. The question on everyone's mind right now is simple. Will Kendra choose her husband or her children? With her own 4 charges of child endangerment hanging over her head, her freedom depends on how much she is willing to tell the police about what happened in Panama City in 2020 and what has been happening in their Tontatown home since. The court mandates for Joseph's release are a permanent shadow over his life. Every day he is back in Arkansas, he is subject to unannounced visits from state officials. He cannot be alone with his kids. He cannot have a smartphone with unmonitored internet access. He is essentially under house arrest in a home where his wife is also awaiting her day in court. This is a level of legal scrutiny that no reality TV family has ever survived. The golden couple who once represented the future of the Duggar name is now the reason that name is being permanently associated with the darkest crimes imaginable. As we look toward the remainder of 2026, the trial of Joseph Duggar is set to be one of the most watched legal events in reality TV history. The Florida prosecutors have made it clear they are not interested in a plea deal that doesn't involve significant prison time. They have a victim who is willing to testify, a recorded admission of impure intentions, and a second recorded confirmation from a monitored police line. The evidence isn't just circumstantial, it is digital, verbal, and documented. For Joseph and Kendra, the road ahead isn't just about avoiding jail, it's about the fact that their secret life has finally been exposed to the light. The Duggar family spent 20 years telling the world how to raise their children, but the evidence from 2026 shows that they were the ones the children needed protection from all along. The legacy is gone. The shows are cancelled. The money is being drained by legal fees. What is left is a courtroom in Bay County, Florida, where Joseph Duggar will finally have to answer for the 2020 incident that his family tried so hard to bury. And as the evidence continues to mount, it becomes clear that this is a case they can no longer ignore, no matter how much they pray for it to go away. The truth has a way of coming out, and for the Duggars, the truth of 2026 is their final, most devastating chapter.